Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero along with the other host,
Tristan Walter.
And welcome to Night 2 of 12 Nights of Shyamalan. That's right, Tristan. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. If the twist at the end didn't confuse you, this actually was a Shyamalan film.
I had no idea.
Yeah, right? Sure, he played the drug dealer, but other than that, I had no idea.
Oh my God, it was
That
him.
was him again, by the way. He was the drug dealer who was like, "Hey man, I don't have drugs on me." Bruce Willis feels drugs on him. You let me go?
I thought about it at the end of the movie. I'm like, was that? Oh no.
Yes. I mean, how funny would it be if he was a doctor again? Just, what kind of medicine do you practice? 1 minute you're talking to a mother about her son's mental health. Now you're in an emergency room. Sir, what kind of doctor are you?
Oh my God. He's just the one that was asking
doctor?
questions after the train wreck.
Well, you know, for me though, I would find it funny if it's like, he also has superpowers. He's like, I can diagnose exactly what's wrong with people. Amazing. What's your weakness? Picking out what medicine to give them. Killed every patient thus far.
Oh my God.
Sir, I found out exactly what you have. You've broken your elbow in these exact 3 spots. Great. What do I need to heal it up? Here's some arsenic. The worst.
No.
The worst fucking. Great at diagnosing. Terrible at giving the right medication. But yeah. So this movie, I'm very, very, very conflicted about this movie, and I know sometimes I said this to Tristan before the podcast began, and he was like, "Really?" Because I feel like when we talk about other movies, I think in Tristan's mind, and maybe in all of yours if you've been listening in for years, you're like, Matt always does the whole, this was good, but then this was bad. This was good, but then this was bad. But usually I come at the end of it all, and I'm like, but the movie was good, or, ooh, the movie was bad. Right? Like, usually I have some kind of consensus by the end of it, whether or not I love the movie or I despise the movie.
Huh.
I feel like I do. Do you think am I wrong? Is that my weakness? Do I never make it clear enough that I like a movie despite the fact that I'm...
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
That's my take on it. This movie, however, I don't despise it in any way. I'll admit that. But it just... I don't know how to feel about it because it's a genre that, if you've heard myself and Anthony Sanandris, we've talked about. He hasn't been on in a while, sadly. Very busy with work and just general life. Dang his life. But still, he and I did a lot of the earlier days of Those Guys. We did a lot of superhero movies. So this is not. I'm not in any way averse to superhero comics and to superhero movies, especially newer ones as well. I mean, recently I caught up with a bunch of different Marvel ones so I could finally see Infinity War, which I haven't seen yet, but still I'm going to see that sooner rather than later, hopefully. But the point is that I feel like, it's not like a superhero is something that I despise. So I love superheroes, and I always love a grounded take on being a superhero. I just don't know why this movie didn't gel with me as much as I thought it would, and I think maybe that's other people's fault, not in real life, but online, who are like, this movie's so underrated. It's one of the best things ever. And I'm like, oh, well.
I feel like it kind of drags a bit in a sense, because...
Thank you. And by the way... I love you so much because there's so most movies that we do, I think we understand them to be very like popcorny fanfare. So like I think we maybe give them a little bit of a break and don't hit them like punch them in the gut like, hey Rocky, like punch them in. But this one, because it's trying to be very dramatic, very much of a thriller, something that's supposed to make us put on our thinking caps. Immediately Tristan goes out with, I think it drags a bit, and I'm like, oh shit.
Well, no, like, I'll say right now, I still enjoyed it.
Right. No. Me
thought-
too. But I love how usually we don't use terms like that. We're only like, I feel like there was a bit of an issue here. But immediately it was just like, I feel like it drags a bit. And I'm like, oh, dang. He hit it. It's like Punch Out. Like, you got him.
Oh, God. I got the star punch in.
Okay. Yeah. No, but, well, because I think the problem is, in my opinion, is apparently, according to Shyamalan's process when he made this movie, he wanted to make the movie as like a normal, kind of like a comic book movie where like you have the hero's origin and then you have the other parts of like the hero's journey in one film. And then he goes, I love the origin part so much. How about we make that its own movie? And
Right.
I think it dragged on potentially because of that. Where I think this movie, I think this movie could have been an hour and 20, and it would have been okay.
Yeah.
Like I do, but the thing is, you're not wrong. Like it did feel very slow. Also, something I want to mention, and because we're doing 12 Nights of Shyamalan, yes, we'll reference his other movies. Usually, I don't like referencing a movie unless it's in the same franchise, but like comparing the two. But in this case, this movie came out right after The Sixth Sense. It even stars Bruce Willis, for fuck's sake. So,
yeah, right.
we're gonna reference the two. In this case, I feel like Shyamalan, and maybe it's just because. My life, child of divorce. But I feel like Shyamalan does a great job of writing a couple not working out versus them not working out and then being back together.
Right.
Now, I know, Hollywood magic, Hollywood cliche, sure, but I feel like with The Sixth Sense, them not, it kind of felt real, especially the mother and child in The Sixth Sense. I See Dead People. That's his name, by the way. I See Dead People. No, but having the two of them, they seemed very real together. Where this family, I don't know, they didn't seem real. Like they didn't seem to be I don't know. They didn't really connect with me.
Right.
Compared to in the first film of The Sixth Sense, where it really connected, like, child of divorce, and then, this couple isn't working out well, and that kind of felt real, like, this is real life. Even with the supernatural elements, it still felt like it was real life. And sure, I told you maybe we could have had more supernatural elements, but it felt like the movie wasn't trying to be a supernatural movie. However, in this case, while I sent you the trailer, did you get to watch the trailer before we began or no?
No, I watched it after.
Oh, okay. The reason why I'm asking is because the Touchstone Pictures Disney in general owns them, so Disney wanted to promote this movie as a psychological thriller rather than a superhero film, where Shyamalan is like, no, but this is a superhero movie. And I feel like with The Sixth Sense, you could say, it's a little bit of both, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But in this case, I feel like it didn't have enough superhero stuff to call it a superhero movie, so you definitely can't call it that. And it didn't have enough cat and mouse game stuff to call it a psychological thriller.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it had a little bit.
Went back and forth about him actually being, having abilities. Because they're like, but no, he could drown, or, if you, don't shoot me, like you would actually hurt me, which that was debatable. Like, I never said you couldn't be hurt. I mean.
Yeah, how funny would that be? How funny would that be? Like, you're saying I can't get injured from, like, a car crash. Jesus, a gun is a gun, man.
I mean, to be
if you
fair,
survive,
he was launched out of the vehicle. If that doesn't kill you, then, I mean.
Fair. A bit different than a gunshot close range.
To be fair, I don't think the bullet would have just bounced off him. I think it would have definitely, at the very least, bruised him. Probably knocked the wind out of him. But not.
How funny would it be?
Him.
Yeah, I don't think it would have killed him, but still, how funny. Just imagine Samuel L. Jackson's character is just, Mr. Glass is sitting there like, I never said you couldn't be shot. I mean, it's not like you survived that plane crash I orchestrated. What? What was that last thing you just said? I don't know.
Oh, don't mind me.
What do you mean?
Painkillers kicking in.
Yeah. So yeah, the film, and I think it could have had some more. Like, the thing too is I'm not even saying, oh, he needs to be in a full costume. I'm not even saying that,
No,
right?
I thought
No.
at the end when he had the security guard poncho on, I thought that was actually kind of perfect for like.
Yes.
A local town hero, because he kind of feels like somebody that would be like, if we're thinking Marvel, I would say like the Defenders. He's not going to be in the Avengers right away or anything.
I would say Spider-Man, but not this version's MCU Spider-Man. Like, really, like long time ago Spider-Man, when he legit was actually working with the neighborhood.
I guess I would think more along the lines of Daredevil, but less,
Yes.
martial arts training, obviously.
But no, 100% though. You're right. Very much Daredevil. The reason why I say Spider-Man is because Spider-Man also has super strength, just like this guy.
Right.
Technically, Daredevil doesn't have super strength.
Right. Yeah.
He can just see really good, but not.
Yeah. So this, the man's name, David, I think he was, the character.
Yeah,
He's almost like a fusion. Well, I mean, because he had, his powers seem to consist of strength and danger sense. Almost like a Spidey sense, which was odd. It's an odd combination of powers.
Well,
although, I guess
think
Spider-Man had it, but...
Right, but no, I think the idea was for this character a bit like Tarantino described him as like an Earth Superman if he didn't know he was Superman. Like, what if Superman was born on Earth but didn't know he was Superman? Because the thing is with his powers, they were just heightened senses that normal people could potentially feel. Not so much, of course, the clairvoyance or like knowing people's,
I was thinking more of that.
That was but at first it kind of was interesting, where it's like the idea of what Mr. Glass was saying is, oh, you bumped into that guy, you felt like, oh, I have a gun on my side, not, oh, I put the gun there earlier this morning as I was eating Cheerios, more so like, oh, there is a gun on my person. How did you feel that? I don't know. It's just something about like a sort of, I don't even want to fucking say sixth sense, but I cannot. I cannot do it, Tristan.
I feel like it'd be something about like his body posture or like the tension in his body or something like that.
Yes, his senses are heightened. That's kind of what he felt until he was in Grand Central, where it was kind of like, look, I know we don't know what his powers is, and neither does he, but you kind of went really odd with this.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, how do you know that one guy, sexually assaulted that woman? And more importantly, I know you can't stop it, but such an odd thing to show, and then him to be like, no, that one's okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if that was definitely, actually I do know, in the sense that while I don't know these people, I would imagine that they would not go, that was our intention. His character going, nah, I'll let him off the hook for that one. No, but it's just odd to show something like that and to feel like it was kind of like an escalation of crime. Like, but it's not as bad as murder. And it's kind of, but, we found the murder. All right, let's go stop the murder. So you can't even stop the murder. It happened. Like, he got lucky that he found kids or someone to save. All he knew he was doing is he was going to a home where, like, oh, this guy's dead.
There's a guy dead,
Also, my shoes, they think I did it now. All right, thank goodness it was raining outside. I stepped on every single fucking grassy area I can find. And, I'm going to jail, kids. When I heard that the ending was bad, or people saying they didn't like the ending, you were very shocked. I was like, he's going to go to jail for the murder of that guy.
I thought he was going to drown him in the pool. Like, when the guy pushed him over and then he fell and landed, I'm like, oh, no. Well, that was the thing. Like, he's got these powers, and now, like, they figured out his weakness is water. I'm like, oh, God, he tried to be a hero and it didn't work. Like, I thought that was going to be the twist. It's like, you may have the powers, but, like, you're still an average guy in your mind.
I gotta be honest.
Trained to go after, criminals.
Way
it's
too
not
sad.
like he had a police force or an army background or anything. It's like, yeah, you don't know how to handle this situation. And I thought that was it. I thought he was going to drown.
He was a college football player. That's all you fucking need, apparently.
Oh my God.
Well, according to him, he's just like, yeah, I played football. And by the way, I'm sorry. One of the reasons why I feel like it was one of the reasons why I felt like the reveal was kind of odd, not because in my head I knew he was going to be a hero all along, but just there's some moments that I feel were big. I'm not saying that they weren't big, but that they just felt, again, not so real. Like the idea of like, all right, I did lie about being in that crash, and by doing that meant that I wasn't going to have the football career because I fell in love with a woman. Which, again, I'm not saying that people don't do, I'm not saying people don't do stuff like that. It's the idea that, look, I know it made it seem like apparently not Bruce Willis, but I'm sure he is too, but I'm saying that the actual, what was his name again? The actual character's name?
David, I believe.
David is a fucking brilliant actor. Everyone was fucking fooled.
Yeah.
Apparently on his list of things, of his superpowers, he's also really good at acting.
I thought it was going to be along the lines of, he didn't want his girlfriend at the time to think he was a freak or something.
No, but it's the idea
of people around him to think he was a freak, and that's why he hid it, or he wanted to have a normal life, or if he had tried to save someone earlier on and it failed. I don't know.
But that one dude found him doing fucking somersaults to her body. Are you okay? Yeah. Dude, he's fucking kneeling over her body. What do you think? Yeah, actually, my arm's broken. Breaks his own arm. See? Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, the thing would be you could also have an injury and not realize the adrenaline of the moment. I mean, shit, there are people who've not noticed, shards of glass sticking out of them until they look down and go, oh, no.
No, of course. No, I know. It's just because of the kind of reveal that it was, it just felt like, I don't know. Imagine if I just lied to you and be like, actually, Tristan, I did go to that dance recital in the 3rd grade. And because of that changes the entirety of this fucking plot. It's just one of those things where I know it was integral to the movie, but it's just something that I don't know why he had to superly lie to Mr. Glass about it. Because it's not like he was like, wait a minute. To me, it didn't come off as, I forgot about that.
Right. I feel like he just, it was, in his mind, he was trying to repress it. He didn't want to remember, so he shut it out. Although you're right. I feel like if he had faked it in the sense of, are you okay? Look down at her, look back, and then, fake blacking out, that might have been a little bit better. And him going, oh, dude, are you all right? And shaking him, and he just lays there.
Also, seemed to be very much – also, it just seems very odd that she seemed conscious enough. Granted, I'm sure she blacked out. But she seemed conscious enough to be like, I thought I was dead. How did I survive? I don't know. But also, I'm injured. Oh, seizure.
Yeah.
This is what a seizure is, right? Right?
True.
Ooh,
yeah.
Seizure. It's what the fuck are you doing?
Even if you
I'm having – yeah.
The EMPs would have known there was – they're he's fine. His vitals are fine.
That's the funny
I don't know
thing.
why he's out.
Honey, don't talk to the EMTs. And if you do, you hurt your head. So I'm sure you'd hear everything differently. You know that disease, right? The one where you hear everything differently after waking up from a head trauma? You probably have that. What? See, you have it right now. It's just so odd. And by the way, not trying to make fun of people with seizures, because that's a terrible thing to just get seizures like that. It's just his character. It seemed like the way they set it up, it wasn't as clear-cut as he even made it out to be. So it's kind of why is she? Granted, when she was woken up, randomly in the middle of the fucking night, she's like, I don't fucking remember if you've been sick. Jesus.
Yeah.
I think you're cheating on me with everyone. Stop it. Could we just not right now? Jesus.
Yeah. That was one thing that I felt we could have done without at the very beginning when he's on the train.
Actually, I'm okay with that. only because, again, it's trying to show a gritty reality. The odd thing, though, is that at the end everything's okay and he gets to say, actually, I didn't cheat on you because she was married. See? Like,
and she also died in that train crash. I mean,
gotta be real.
Yes.
I gotta be real. No, him saying, I gotta be real, that was definitely a major deterrent. Well, I'm happy. I'm happy it is, right? Like, shit.
No, because it just felt like throughout the rest of the movie, that part of his character was never brought into question. And it makes that scene at the beginning feel like, well, wait, why did he even do that? I don't know. It doesn't seem to connect to anything else.
Well, here's the thing. At first, I think the idea was supposed to be, oh, he a cheating bastard. Then, as the movie goes on, I think the idea is, oh, they're both not interested. So, like, granted, the question is, why the fuck do you even have your wedding ring on in the first place if you're on the prowl? But I think they wanted to show that happening to have us know that he is married. Granted, again, him taking it off to us makes it seem like you were happily married, so you took that ring off, when really we realize throughout the film they both are unhappily married, and they're trying to make it work. I think that it's odd because I don't think the movie should have been longer because, again, the movie dragged. It's just that, as we mentioned, as you're mentioning, which it feels disconnected. I feel like it was connected, but the issue is that it wasn't explored because it did not really seem like a good romance. In my head, I'm like, wait, are they actually doing well?
Yeah.
Like, is this actually going to be okay? Because it seems like it's supposed to be, at least from that one date. Like, I'm not saying I don't like open-ended endings, but I think the problem with this movie is they wrapped up the thing with Mr. Glass as best as they could, but then they leave a bunch of other things that they kind of brought up where it's kind of like, why are you going to bring this up if it's going to just kind of be left open? And granted, I think Shyamalan might have thought, oh, we'll get another one of these perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, there, from the looks of it, there actually might be a sequel coming up next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They've wanted to do this movie for a long
19
time.
19 years later, really? Wow.
It's called Glass.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
Oh, no.
I haven't seen much of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, but it's like, oh, no, oh, yes. But I feel like and Bruce Willis really loved doing this movie. Of course, Shyamalan did as well. And again, this is a movie that's gained a cult following. And frankly, I would like to mention, I think another issue, and it's not even this movie's fault, it's what has come out after this movie that has also, if not set a bar, at least has showed other avenues of making comic book movies that are dark and also very colorful, or at least colorful in terms of the humor and kind of giving some creative freedoms in how some of these characters could be adapted from the comic books. I think creative freedoms so much, not just changing things, but also keeping things similar in some ways, right? So I feel like with the way both Marvel, DC, and even other, heroes and villains have kind of populated movies, I don't want to say this movie becomes bad in comparison, but at the same time, I think that I might have appreciated this movie more if I had seen it in my teenage years before this, the large amount of superhero movie films had come out as of the last, 10 years.
Right.
Granted, I do think that maybe those movies help Disney, if Disney is still the parent company who's working on Shyamalan, working with this on this movie with Shyamalan, if they still are, if it's still like, I don't know if Touchstone Pictures still exists, but still, if they are the IP holders and they're actually working with him, then maybe these superhero movies also helped bring back this, this franchise.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, well, these other superhero movies are working, but So that's a good thing. Also, it's not like this movie didn't do well. I'm pretty sure it made over its budget. I'll check before we wrap up the show, but I'm pretty sure the movie made more than its budget. So it was not a commercial failure. It's just that it was one of those movies where the trailer tries to market it as a thriller, and then people sit down, they're like, what am I going to get? They go to this movie with their, their significant other, with some friends. What, horror movie or what, weird Shyamalan thing are we going to get? And then immediately within the first, 20 minutes, you have Samuel L. Jackson essentially without the fucking eye patch being like, I'm assembling a group.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, well, shit. But I mean, that's what you got in the first 20 minutes. Honestly, first 30 minutes actually, because I play these movies in the background, so I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the first meeting with Mr. Glass and this character, the hero, if you will, if you want to just call him, that, because he always had that on the back, like security, or something. Yeah, it was very interesting how that was kind of his superhero costume, like you mentioned a little bit too. It was very fitting. But anyway. So looking at the movie right now as it's going on, their first meeting was at 27, 28 minutes. So I see Samuel L. Jackson sitting in front of hieroglyphics, and I'm like, all right, this is either a really weird alternate universe Avengers or the strangest Yu-Gi-Oh! Adaptation I have ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Imagine he's just and these 3 Egyptian god cards. Doo! Fucking the tune plays.
Yeah.
Not the opening, just the Egyptian God card tune from the English dub. It's just okay, this is weird. I'm out. Just why is Samuel L. Jackson Ishizu? I'm out.
Yeah.
But
it was so weird. Bouncing around between the two of them at the beginning was weird too. Going back in time. And, they did the train crash, and then they went back in time to. Glass when he was a kid and all of that. All of that kind of felt weird.
I think my thing, I will admit the movie did a good job of making me feel on my toes. I think if that, I think was part of the feel that they were going for. I did feel in some ways I felt uneasy, which is, again, I think a good thing, what they were trying to do. But the odd thing about Mr. Glass, though, is that I never felt uneasy with him. Is it just me, or did he come off as wise old sensei until the end?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. At first I kind of thought that's the idea. You think he's nuts because he's oh, you're a comic book superhero. It's hear me out. I got some reasons why. I was skeptical at first too, but now I'm starting to really think, and it's buddy.
I don't know. I think, again, I blame superhero movies for making me go, I will listen to him.
Yeah, no. That's because I knew this wasn't. I mean, I guess they were kind of trying to go for an actual superhero, but I'm this isn't an this isn't your typical what I think of as superhero movie these days. Which most of my experience is Marvel, but
of course. No, you're 100% right though. Oh, one odd thing though, one aside, which made me really laugh because I'm I don't know if it was Shyamalan who wrote it in, but I'm going to blame him anyway. I loved to death
everyone else.
You better not be jacking off to the Japanese comics back there, and I'm just go on.
Oh my God.
What comic books do you carry in this establishment, sir?
Yeah, right. I don't think those are comic books.
I mean, it's a bit hard to read with the pages stuck together, but still, all I'm trying to get at here.
How dare you? Oh no, is it bad that my first instinct was, how dare you call them comic books?
I didn't hear how dare you, but I was comic books, my good man. This is pure manga eroticism. But anyway,
okay.
we went into different areas there. One thing that I think was it's not that it was funny, but it was a very interesting situation because it did bring up a question that I don't know if other people had when they watched the film. What do you do when someone is a belligerent customer who is also in a wheelchair? I know, but like I'm being serious here. That's not like a joke. We're not here for the ha-has. I mean, usually we are, but not in this case. It's just general, like, wow, that was a really fucking interesting predicament. Like, hey man, look, I gotta go. I mean, it was odd that he was, being a dick focusing on lunch break. But even at the same time, though, it's kind of like, look, if I have to leave the store unattended, I can't leave anyone here, including you. So can you leave? 'Cause you're not leaving? Shit, what is the proper thing to do here?
Right.
Because it's like, it's really rude it would be like pushing him out of the store if you were walking. It's kind of like you're just rolling him out. Like, it's a dick move, but it's kind of like, what do I do? And then he's breaking shit in the store, and it's kind of like,
right.
What do I do? This is my inventory. Although I love at the end of the day, it seems like at the end of the day, it was like, you can't be breaking my inventory, man. How much for this one? You're fucking lucky I want to make a sale. You are so fucking lucky. $5.50.
Oh my God.
Gives me exact change. All right, thank you. You have a nice night. Like, what do you do? What do you do when the person who is belligerent is both in a wheelchair and then wants to buy your merch? What do you do? It was honestly that was the question. Like, I accepted the superhero stuff fairly easily. It was that had me going, damn, I really would not know what to do. What do you mean, Matt? Would you get shot? Well, by the time that I lifted all that weight, yes, I would. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. It is less scarring on the family to have the kid shoot me and me be like, see, I'm okay, versus now the wife is like, what do I do with my kid?
Right.
My kid just tried to shoot my husband with a loaded gun. Like, what is Bruce Willis going to say? Actually, I know a really good child psychologist. Ah, damn it, he died a few months back, actually. Never mind. Like, what are you... Oh, God. What are you... Just going to have Bruce Willis the ghost from The Sixth Sense? I can help with that.
Oh, my God.
We have a troubled kid here. He tried to shoot his dad. My dad's a superhero. No. Clearly, this kid is just, it's his ghost from The Sixth Sense being like, apparently I'm learning more new shit. There's ghosts. Also, there's fucking superheroes. Even Haley Joel Osment is like, I did not see that coming, actually. I see ghosts, and I did not see that coming. God.
You just see the two kids get together. Like, do you see ghosts too? No, my dad's just a superhero. All right, kid, don't fuck with me. You're the same age as me. Yeah, but I've seen some shit. I'm obviously, like, on a higher level than you right now.
What did he say? Are you wigging out? That's when he looks at the kid. Are you wigging out?
Yeah. Oh, God.
But, no, but still, and I'm not, again, that wasn't even meant to be like a joke tangent. It's just legit, like, what do you do? But anyway, moving on. I don't know. I think I didn't see, that's the thing. I feel like the way people describe the movie to me, and it's technically not the movie's fault, it felt like Mr. Glass was supposed to be menacing, and really he was not. And it's not because of his disability at all. It's not because of his illness. It's just because of the fact that he didn't seem... Like, I know at first you're like, Matt, come on, in a movie like this, yes, he's supposed to seem like he's off. But then when the fact that he's on, the fact that Bruce Willis finds out fairly early in the movie that he can bench a lot more than anyone ever should be able to.
Right.
It's at that point that I'm kind of sitting back like, so are we done guessing? Oh, we're still guessing. Now, the gunshot, I know. The gunshot is a half joke, only half, but it's a half joke on my part. But at this point, like, why do we not have Bruce Willis being like, all right, let me not sit down for 5 to 10 minute intervals with this guy. Let's sit down for a good hour and, like, hash this out.
Right. I guess it's like, I felt the same way about, him benching all that, and then we kind of drop that, and then his kid, tries to prove it to him. I think he's just caught between the fact of, like, I want to keep this normal life with my family. I don't like. I do, but I don't. But I don't want my child shooting me to be what ends it. So he's like, no, we're gonna. All right, we're gonna put this back under the rug. I'm gonna act like nothing ever happened.
But if I remember correctly,
yeah.
it wasn't like the next. I mean, obviously it wasn't the next scene, but it took a while to get to the gunshot part.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
Looking at the movie, the bench pressing part. Let's see, I'm at 38 minutes. I think it did happen after this, to be fair, but I don't know. It did not seem like it was really close. Like it seemed like there was enough time.
Right.
Again, we don't know the passage of time, sadly, with this movie. Like if it was a day, if it was a week, in some cases, but it truly felt like okay. So at 45 minutes, or 45 minutes, he bench presses everything. Like he starts to. He's like, wait a minute, you didn't take these off for 3 minutes. That's. And his kid's like, no, I didn't, actually. I put more. My bad. Because it could have killed you, Dad. Like, I feel like that kid should definitely – I know he's – by the way, something else I want to mention, too. And I don't know if you were rubbing off on me, Tristan, but do you think the kid was too – like, how do I explain this? When there's kids' characters in movies, right, usually I give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, Tristan, because they're really young.
Uh-huh.
This kid felt too old to be doing half the shit he was doing.
Like, what, trying to prove that his dad's a superhero and, putting the weight on and being like, no.
Both ways.
JK.
The weight on and the shooting. He feels, because the actor that played him, he was 12 years old at the time. Maybe he was playing a 10-year-old, but to me, he came off as like an 8-year-old, like really like confused, like really like out of touch with reality. Granted, yes, when you do the weight thing, of course, you're like, my dad's a hero. But before the weight thing, it was kind of like, you could fucking kill your dad, right? Like if I did that shit to my dad would be like, let's hope you're also in Unbreakable. My dad would have been furious. He would have broken his chest if he was actually not a hero.
I mean, to be fair, I think they were both just so stunned with what was going on. He's like, okay, normally I would have berated you for that, but we're going to look past that for right now. Put some more weights on you.
Yeah, also him sleeping in the same bed with his son, not creepy, and I don't think it's even creepy at that age, but it just felt odd because, again, the son was older. Like, that's something that I imagine a kid who's like 6, well, obviously younger than 6 too, but like at most you're like, okay, kid, you're like 8, 9 now. You kind of have to go sleep in your own bed. So like the kid being like 10 or 11, that's a little strange to me.
Fair, I guess.
That's all I'm saying. Now,
I get you. I mean, he could have had a bad dream or something, or maybe he was just trying to humor him because he's like, our family life really hasn't been the best, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. I just think that when we have the sixth sense, it's very much like we need to, these kids, there are some mental health issues going on here. And then in this movie, I feel like the kid definitely had some issues that are just, who cares? We have his dad as the hero. And, besides, that all those issues will be fixed if they just get back together. The reason why he wanted to shoot his dad, I mean, obviously divorce, the separation. It's kind of like, I still feel like that's a huge detachment from reality. To be like, but Dad, you picked up those weights, those weights really good. I get that, son, but please do not fire the gun. Also, really should hide my bullets better. Like, I'll admit, honey, didn't hide my bullets well. I'll admit that.
Oh, God, could you imagine if she just, it's like, it's okay, that gun's not loaded, he doesn't know where the bullets are. Oh, underneath the football trophy. She just looks at him, looks back at the husband, looks back at the kid. Yeah, just fucking shoot him.
It's not a violent sport, right, honey? Shoot him.
Oh.
But it was strange. I think also her take on football is odd.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm not saying that
supposed to hurt the other players.
Well, I guess the idea is, oh, you're running through, you're pushing people down. It's like, yeah, but if they made a line for you, you could part the Red Sea if they chose to, but no, they want to get in the way. Like, you could run without hitting people. Of course, the idea is they're going to hate you, which obviously, yes, right. I guess that idea is like, well, you get rewarded for them hitting you. It's like, yeah, but it's not like it's funny, if this movie was ever if this movie was ever rebooted, which I'm happy that it's not, it seems like Glass is actually going to be a sequel, but if this movie was ever rebooted, I would understand if she said that about UFC, because that's, heck,
right,
UFC was around, even though, granted, he wouldn't have been a UFC fighter 20 years earlier, but if this movie was updated, though, and, 20 years earlier was in the 90s, 2000s, UFC was around, or at least MMA in that way was around. So I feel like that would be better, in my opinion, because I don't know. The idea of, yes, technically it's like you're hurting people if you get pushed, you have to get pushed down, and then you're getting rewarded because you're getting closer to winning, or you're stopping them from winning. But it's just so different than, like, UFC. I won. How? I broke his fucking jaw. Oh, my God.
Right.
What's even crazier is I did it with my own jaw. Oh, my God.
What?
That's even more violent somehow. But,
right.
Yeah, no. Mr. Glass would get hurt by being a referee, like shit. Be like, I just stepped on my own foot while being a referee. I broke my hand. You stepped on your foot? How? That's the thing. Like, I don't, again, she can believe that, whatever. But again, it just, I don't know, just certain things about the movie felt odd. Like, they didn't match up to reality, in my opinion. Okay. Where, again, jumping to The Sixth Sense, it felt like, I don't know why The Sixth Sense felt so real to me. And it felt like, yes, if we have to sit back and go, ghosts exist, like, for real, 100%, no ifs, ands, or maybes, ghosts exist, that movie made sense. Granted, I'm sure there's some things that I was like, that was weird, but the movie made sense. Oh, the videotape thing. That was, like, the one thing that I was like, this is odd.
Right.
It's funny, I wonder, as the movies go on, the small oddities in a Shyamalan film become the movie.
Right.
But as we go through his filmography, it's just, and at one point we're going to look at the whole movie and be like, that was the odd thing. But but do you see what I mean, though? Like,
it felt, it felt pretty realistic for me, I guess. But maybe
I just mean like their family dynamic, their, I guess the handlings of, like, handling Mr. Glass, also Mr. Glass handling, I mean, him,
I guess
again.
That was the weird thing.
Also, his mom.
Like, the mom, Mr. Glass's mom?
Yeah. How is she not dead? How has he been able to do all this stuff and she's still amongst the living, apparently assumingly living with him?
That's actually a fair point.
That's the thing. Like, right, like, if you still lived with your mom because of a disease and you were clearly in your 40s, your mom would be watching your ass like a hawk.
Right.
By the way, maybe he was younger than his 40s, but he looked like he was around the same age as Willis, who at the time was probably in... Bruce Willis is fucking immortal, but that's a different story. Well, because if you look at Bruce Willis in Die Hard, in this, in some of his recent movies, and even in Sixth Sense, the only difference is his hairline. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know how old his character was. What?
No, I was going to say, Samuel L. Jackson still looks pretty amazing, too, to be fair.
Also, that's what I'm saying. Two immortals. But the point, duking it out, it is a superhero film. By the way, the two have worked together before. What?
I guess we really should have thought, or now that I think of it, I should have been like, yeah, he kept bringing up the idea we're both two opposite ends of the spectrum. I guess
but
that
how
was
does,
supposed to be the hint.
but it's so odd though, because why, I don't know, like, he seems like someone who didn't think of him as the villain though. Granted, we know him as the villain. I think it's more so that he thought of himself as the opposite ends, like, I am the quote-unquote weak, and you are this. If someone like me has to exist, then someone like you has to exist, which is fair. Right. And then I guess, of course, that gets twisted into the theme that if someone who is so good as this character exists, granted, flawed, yes, because of the scene in the beginning, with putting the ring away. But someone as flawed as that, someone as flawed but also good, inherently good, wants to protect people. Like, it's not like he was saying, like, oh, well, she left me, I guess she should die. Right? Like, he wasn't hoping for that. So someone who wants to protect so much also has to have someone who, for his own selfish goals, will literally murder. And he, by the way, You didn't just see the few things that he mentioned. With those newspapers on the wall, there was even more shit that he did.
Oh yeah, no, I saw,
Like the Mexican landslide. I was like, what? I was like, how do you even orchestrate that one?
What the hell? I mean, the whole idea. He was weak in body, but like his mother was saying, it's like he's always been strong in the mind, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, that's kind of the opposite of, David as well.
Right. I love it. Did you just call me dumb as bricks? No, please don't hurt me.
Oh, my God.
Are you saying I'm stupid? Because you know what?
Like,
I'll come back here and I'll prove you differently. I got to go pick up my kid. All right, it's 3:15. He has school. Sir, it's a Sunday.
Like,
God damn it, I left him there for 2 days.
It's like, no, I'm not calling you dumb, but you're also not at the level of genius that Mr. Glass is at the point of, I can orchestrate a landslide in Mexico and make it look like I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, which is so funny, because although granted, it seemed like his quote-unquote genius was really just, well, that guy can't do that if he has a cane. Score.
Yeah, right?
Like,
that kind of seemed like that, too. That was weird.
I mean, again, people do have...
One was the one that felt like that the most,
But people, that's the thing, people discriminate in a way without realizing it. Like, oh, he can't do that. He's, he's limping. And it's just like,
right.
If we gave him a gun, would the gun limp too? Like, no.
Yeah, right. I mean, he probably uses that to his full advantage as well.
Definitely. Most definitely.
But that's the thing. It was weird for me because, yes, he's done all these terrible things, but I couldn't really figure out. I was split on his motivation. Because half of me felt like, oh, he killed all these people to finally find if he thinks himself to be the. Does he actually think himself to be the supervillain in that I need my opposite? I need to find the hero so I can finally, reaffirm in myself that, yes, I am the supervillain and now I have my arch rival? Or was it the idea that, how he kind of said before, like, there are people destined to do, there's some people are destined to help the others, and that people need hope these days. Did he kill all those people to finally be like, I finally found the hero? Like, you can start to put things right again for everybody else. So like,
I don't think he thought himself.
He's trying to do good, like, at the expense of lives. But he's like, no, I found a superhero. Like, everything's going to be better from here on out. Yeah, people had to die to find you, but, like, it's for the greater good.
Yeah, I truly believe that he thought himself not to be the villain. That's kind of why, like, we're supposed to see that, the other end of the coin isn't just his quote-unquote weakness, his fragility versus Bruce Willis's strength, but his other side of the coin is actually the villainous side, where Bruce Willis is the hero. I mean, we saw the quote in the beginning of, good cannot exist without evil.
Without evil, yeah, right.
So yes, it was. It's not like it wasn't alluded to. So that's why actually I love the twist. I'm actually not against the twist. Some people were like, that ending was terrible. Honestly, the only thing I thought was bad about it was that they put up fucking text to tell us what happened. Like, I know that they didn't run out of a budget, but it felt like they did.
Right.
I mean, it's just me. Maybe it's just me.
They wanted it to be dramatic on that scene of him walking out instead of.
It didn't. I mean, it didn't feel dramatic.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they just felt odd about taking a guy away in a wheelchair and handcuffs. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it would have. No, I'm not saying the scene would have been good. Like how else it could have been good, rather. But I definitely just felt odd to me, where it's just like it felt like, you know what? Okay, here's what it felt like. It felt like one of those cop movies. But again, Bruce Willis not a cop. Samuel L. Jackson not a criminal that he was chasing. So it just felt like it's like he was moved to the federal. He was moved to the penitentiary. And it's like kind of like, at least if there was a narration, it may have seemed less odd.
Yeah.
Like I think Bruce Willis narrating it would have been better than just the text is on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it had turned into like some weird comic book illustration, but again, it wasn't going for that. It wasn't going for that, comic booky, like it wasn't going for a direct comic book feel. 1-to-1. Also, another thing, too, I think, is because it's a brand new property, it's also a little bit harder to look at it as a comic book movie unless you do, like, in the way that they did it. Because, like, if this was, like, an IDW or, like, some other kind of comic book that was grounded in reality, I feel like there would be a fan base there to be like, oh, man, Unbreakable is in theaters. Let's see how this looks. So trying to make like a brand new superhero, but not have him be a superhero, and also have it trying to be a thriller, but not too much of a thriller.
Yeah.
It's like a cat and mouse game, but not really. In fact, like less than halfway through the movie, you find out, oh shit, Bruce Willis is the hero. And then it takes up until the end, almost the end, for him to finally do something heroic. And even then, like, I'm not saying he should be clairvoyant and, like, see the murders before they happen, because that's a bit much. But again, like, it just felt so off-putting that, he saw a woman getting, and also he saw racism. Like, oh, yeah, the guy threw some shit at that woman's head. I don't know. I think he said something about getting back to her country. I don't remember the exact quote. But he was basically fuck you.
He breaks the bottle on her head and says, go back to Africa.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. So he says that. And then the woman, he shows, again, he can't do anything about it because it's already happened. Yes. But why show me that as if like he's making a choice? Like, which one can I do something about? Like, you could still be like.
Funny. I feel like that scene he should have seen the kids, because that for me would have made it make more sense, because it's like, oh, the kids are still in there. I can still save them.
Mhm.
Like,
because what is he going to do? Like, yeah, like he couldn't call the cops on him because it's like, how did you know about this, sir? Well, funny story. I touched him at an airport. I'm sorry. No, he bumped into me at I'm sorry. He bumped the train terminal. He bumped into me at the train terminal. Okay, he bumped into you and he said something to you.
Told you? Yeah. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, right. What do you say to that?
How do I cover this up?
Exactly. So lucky that he doesn't have hair. Could you imagine me trying to do some shit like that? Fucking my hair would literally just be the pool. The pool would just be my hair. It's kind of funny
but if that was,
like Bruce.
If you fell into the pool, you just walk on top. You just walk on the water.
Ha ha. Oh, I thought you meant the Jesus jokes.
That's what I was going for. Yeah.
Good shit.
Because your hair, almost the same. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of weird adaptations, as he's drowning, this is the weirdest One Piece adaptation I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
You didn't think that when he mentioned his weakness is water, you can't swim?
No, I didn't. Actually.
No,
I should have.
Oh, yo ho ho! He took a bite of gum.
No. That's my weakness. Oh.
That's your kryptonite? 4 kids English dubs? Oh, no, he can't handle it.
You know what?
Every person has a weakness.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are water.
Oh, my God.
Some people are explosions. Mine is bad English dub opening.
I love that explosions. Like, they were all superheroes on that plane. It's just their kryptonite was explosions. What the fuck, Tristan?
Oh, God. Yeah, that's the twist?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Everyone was a hero. Just the way Glass tried to kill them was all of their kryptonites. Like, all of those Mexican people were heroes. It's just their kryptonite was landslides.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, no, so with this movie, I just feel in between because I think you liked it better than I did because you've heard no hype about it.
Yeah. I've never even heard of this, I don't think.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because I will admit, yes, in that regard, not that I know like some stuff you're like, because you'll even tell me, you're like, sorry, Matt, that I don't know about this pop culture thing. But I will admit that, yes, people have said that this movie is very, it's underappreciated. Not many people know about it. And I will say that it's underappreciated. I will say that it's kind of a cult type movie, right? I'll fully admit that. I just think that when I hear from people who are really like in love with this movie about like it's a cult movie, it's amazing. If you like superhero movies, you gotta watch Unbreakable. And I'm like, shit, I guess I gotta watch Unbreakable. And granted, yes, I do think I should have watched this. I just think I should have watched it earlier.
Right.
Like I think with all the superhero movies that we've gotten, and not all winners, believe me, right? I'm looking at you, Iron Man 2. Not every movie was Iron Man 2 or Thor 2. Something weird about the Marvel sequels, right? Like, not every movie was The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
So when you have your Batman Begins, you have your Dark Knights, you even have 1989 Batman that was pretty darn good. You have a bunch of, and not just all Batman ones, you also have some Marvel ones as well that have, some of them have been very serious and dealt with things like, lighter versions, but kind of like terrorist threats, like this film.
Right.
Where, because this guy basically was a terrorist. I mean, that's kind of isn't that what they technically arrested him on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when you look at stuff like this, I think it's because of both comic books as well as other, other movies as well that, that are comic booky, or even just ones that kind of flirt with it like this one did. They've done so much with the medium that I'm not saying that this movie is bad, but I remember you and I did another film. I forgot which one it was that you and I sat back and thought, with the way things have changed, at the time this was revolutionary perhaps, but now it's not as much. I can't remember what movie it was, though. It wasn't Sixth Sense. It was something else that we had done. I forgot which movie it was already, which is sad because it wasn't a bad movie. But I remember there was one movie we did that I said, back when this was released, this was The Bee's Knees or something like that.
I forgot. I feel like I can. It sounds familiar, but.
Yeah, I know. I feel really bad. But anyway, Matrix, one of them. The first Matrix I enjoyed, I loved, but I think you and I were talking about how it felt like in 1999 it was like, oh, this is the shit. Where like now certain things are dated.
Yeah.
Especially with the tech.
Maybe. Oh yeah. I guess the first or second. Maybe it was the second.
Yes, it was.
The, fighting with the Smiths.
Yes, because of course that was more so with the special effects in the second one.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it was, but I think even just talking about some of the themes in the first one, because you were talking about like, wow, it's a machine uprising. And I'm like, hey, at the time that was revolutionary. It was like, at the time, this is when they thought that shit was going to happen for real, damn it. People saw this movie as a documentary.
I feel like that's still a thing that will be real.
Fair. But anyway,
it just gets more and more probable as we go forward.
Yes, but not in the way that it was in the movie. More so like it was in Animatrix, but not in the movie itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes. Just talk about the movie itself. It's not like we're gonna be in a world and they're gonna put us in the things. So like not like that. But however, when you look at the Animatrix, that's when it's like maybe. But anyway, but still, this movie. I just feel like, also you mentioned that it dragged. I do feel like it did something that I'm not a fan of, that some movies have done, some superhero movies have done, where they're like, oh, not just the origin story idea, but the idea of let's stretch this out. Like, oh, it was, the origin was going to be this long, but you know what? We can just make it the whole movie. Where it's kind of like, guys, depending on, I mean, granted, I'm talking about now superhero movies that have had multiple origin stories. It's kind of like, I think I've said this to you before, and if I haven't, I know I said this to Anthony St. Andres. I've said this about Batman and about Spider-Man.
No.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh God.
The exact quote.
Say it again.
For anyone who, I am.
Oh God.
If I have to see Batman's parents or Uncle. Oh, God. See, this is how much I want him to just be gone, as much as I love him. Yeah, I love Uncle Ben, but it's kind of like, at this point, if I have to see Batman's parents or Uncle Ben shot again, I'll be the one doing it. I'll be like, move the story along.
Oh, God. Sorry, Ben.
You're dead.
Wait, what? Oh, God.
You're dead. Be sad. Hey, kid, be sad.
Oh, God.
They're dead. Don't you feel like dressing up in a bat suit? Maybe you in a spider costume? We get DC Spider-Man and Marvel Batman. Ah, shit, I did that wrong.
Oh God. Or it'll just be Batman's parents walking out into the alleyway. And you just walk up to the other dude who shoots them. It's like, no, here, take my watch. Just give me the gun. I'll just get it over with quickly.
Is this an Apple Watch? Oh, right. This is like the 40s. You don't know what that is yet. Whatever. It's worth a lot. Just go away.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's like when his parents were originally killed. Actually, no. His parents were killed in his parents weren't even killed in the 40s. I think they were killed like in the 1890s. When we go back that far.
Right.
Like original Detective Comics, I think he was, he was Batman in the 40s. So I think his parents were killed. If he was in his 30s himself, his parents would have probably been killed maybe in the literally at the start of the 1900s.
Right. Jesus.
You think? Yeah.
Holy crap.
Comic books, they've been around for, that's why seeing a comic book movie like this and then having it be like 1961, and it's not weird.
Right.
That he had a comic book in his hand, Mr. Glass, when he was just little tiny glass shard.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call him. His kid form was little tiny glass shard.
Oh no.
That's what his apprentice will be. I'm Mr. Glass, and I'm Glass Shard.
Oh, he's just a kid. Will you get out of here?
I'm going to prick you and it's going to hurt. You're going to bleed slightly. I'm Glass Shard.
Motherfucker, if you call yourself Glass Shard one more damn time, I'll kill you myself.
God. I mean, he would. I mean, I feel like you have you been working with Shyamalan on Glass? Tristan.
No. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Well, that sounds like something you took directly from the script.
There's a twist. There is no twist.
My God, that'd be a great twist. There just is no script. That's how meta it gets. That's just how meta it gets. It's just about the movie itself, the making of. What a twist.
Oh God. We're not even we don't even see the movie itself. You just see the making of it. So many layers we're going in.
That would be brilliant. The
movie will end just as the movie in the movie is going to play. Oh no. All
right. I want to end it here, but we have to still talk about this just a little bit. Yes. So.
Yeah, but how do you top that, Matt? How do you do it? How?
Oh, I'm not going to top anything. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to underrate this. I'm just going to go underneath it. We're going to go underneath the radar. Did you immediately get, because I did not, did you immediately Bruce Willis's character was working as a security guard? Because I thought he was creepy dude watching football players. I was really confused at first. Like, I knew he had the outfit on at one point, but I didn't know what his job was until...
Yeah, no, I felt he was just like campus security. I didn't know they had a whole stadium. I thought he was just campus security watching practice.
Okay. No, because I didn't know what he was security of, and also with the poncho, I didn't notice that it was meant to be a I work here poncho. It just seemed like a I am in the rain, don't look at me, I'm creeping you out poncho.
Oh.
Well, because it was very dark, so I didn't see it. I didn't notice if it said security or something like that on it. It's later on that I'm like, oh, yes, that's part of his attire. Again, I knew, but the time he's actually saving the kids, I'm like, I think you work at the campus. But early on, I knew that he worked some kind of job. Also, when he said I didn't get the job, I didn't know what the job was about. Maybe he mentioned it with the woman on the train, but it kind of got that, my train of thought, no pun intended, got derailed because I was like, oh, shit, the train, because I didn't expect the train to actually, like,
God.
No pun. I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah,
my actual, no, because when I'm watching the movie, I thought, especially thinking, coming into this knowing that they're superheroes in some way or another, I was like, is the girl manipulating the train? And then it's like, either way, they're all dead and you're not. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, God. For a second, I almost thought that the wife was going to be the supervillain.
Me too. Or working with them. You thought that too, huh? That's interesting. There's something about her performance at some parts that made it seem like her interest in him was a bit disingenuous.
Right. But
was it just me?
It was just marriage problem. Good old
No, but like, well, because the way that she's just like talking about like, oh, hey, I want to start things up again. I'm like, what changed? And granted, in the beginning of the movie, I thought, oh, this might change things. This might put their love. I don't want to say back on the right track. I'm sorry. It just seemed like their marriage would work because of the train crash. However, when they didn't address it until she randomly brings it up a while into the movie, I was like, villain?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she just wants to make their marriage work, Matt. I'm like, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to. Yeah, it's just like, again, with Shyamalan, you don't know. So I didn't know what the twist was going to be, and I thought that the idea of Samuel L. Jackson being villainous was going to be more of like it's a cerebral thing. You just have to watch the movie a certain way, not that huge twist at the end where it's like, I haven't been following these necessarily. I mean, I do follow them because I make them. I'm a murderer. I wasn't expecting that, and you weren't either. That's something I think we should mention. I think it's something we should mention because I mentioned earlier, I loved it, but I think we should also mention that despite the fact that we know that Shyamalan is going to bring us twists, I literally texted you in all caps, you got me again, Shammy!
Yeah.
Because damn it, he did. And great job there, might I add.
Yeah, no, it got me too.
Like, we knew something was going to happen, but I thought that, again, I didn't know what the twist was going to be. You mentioned earlier, you thought it was going to be Bruce Willis's character dying, which, funnily enough, I hate to say I think it would have been better because I love his character, but I think it would have definitely cemented the real tone of this movie.
Yeah.
Granted, the kids saving him was nice, but still it's kind of like, wait, how did the kids get out if the guy was in the house?
Right.
No, because you can hear the guy coming up the stairs. At least I thought I could. You could hear him coming up the stairs, or at least walking around as he's freeing the kids.
Right.
Also, I feel, and this is just an odd thing, I guess, in their universe, like, I'm not saying that people aren't because it's weird. Because whenever I call someone when they are a murderer, I feel weird calling them crazy because I feel like there's like a huge connotation with that. So I don't want to actually use the word crazy necessarily. But what I'm getting at here is there are people like that exist. It's just kind of odd. That's just like I killed the husband, I killed the wife, kids are just sitting there.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he is criminally insane. It's just like, because I wonder, like, sometimes, especially in movies, you always see someone, and even in real life, too, there's a goal. Why did you want to do this? Usually doesn't happen with, I wanted to, or usually doesn't happen with, I kept the kids alive. Why? I really like the house. I don't know. Like, the wife died, the husband died, the kids, they're doing okay. Granted, scared out of their fucking minds.
Right.
But they didn't seem like they were, like, beaten or maimed. Granted, I don't want to see a kid with his leg cut off. No, thank you. But still, both kids seemed like, other than the fact that their parents are dead. Granted, long years of therapy. Again, I would know a great child psychologist if he didn't fucking die.
Oh, God.
3 months earlier.
Well, no, maybe he'll start visiting them.
Yeah, right? He's going to have his own little heroes. But, his own little, like, sidekicks. It's like, well, you have Shard. I have orphans. You didn't think of a really fun name for them? Yeah, I'm not good with the names. Again, you call me stupid.
The kids just look at him like, we are literally only here because he saved us.
Also, he gave us ponchos. Yeah, but it's not raining. It's the summer. We're burning up in these.
Like we said, we don't really care for him much. It's kind of like a life debt kind of thing. I don't know. Appreciation, I don't know.
Just two little kids in ponchos with the fucking kid on the other side just trying to do karate chops as the glass shard.
Oh, my God.
So stupid. So stupid. I love it. But, anyway, also another thing I was hoping for is potentially, like, us wondering, does his kid have any of this?
Yeah.
Like, I was hoping that was going to be addressed. Granted, it was never brought up, so there's no reason to bring it up. Like, we're just fan speculating. But it's one of the things where it's like, what would your mother do if she saw you playing football? Probably wonder why I've never gotten hurt playing football either. Okay, son, please stop talking. Oh, God. But still, it's, so that's just a fan speculation thing, to be fair. But when it comes to him being a hero, again, I have no problem with him being a hero. It's just I feel like granted, it's supposed to be late in the movie because it's supposed to be like, see, he's coming into his own. But again, like you and I have mentioned, I think if we cut 20 minutes out, and I don't know what specific 20 minutes, to be fair. I can't, I'm not there in the editing room, and I don't know, and I know that there's some deleted scenes that were released as well that we haven't seen. So perhaps those might have actually made the movie, even if it was longer, felt more full and refreshing, perhaps.
Maybe.
I wasn't able to look into those.
Shaving things down here and there, like 5 minutes off of this scene or 5 minutes off of that scene.
Right. Yeah. Also, very odd that another thing too, that just mentioning the whole, like, this didn't seem real, if you will. Why did he bring his kid to a strange man's place of business?
That's fair.
Like, couldn't the kid follow him? Like, and also another thing, like, the kid seemed a little mischievous, but not enough for me to be like, he is working with Mr. Glass. No, but not enough
His child is Shard.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't crazy enough, in my opinion. Like, his mischievousness wasn't off enough for me to sit back and think, oh, like, this kid, he's not, again, not working with Shard, but, like, he's, a little off himself. And it's funny because, again, he seemed really off the deep end when he's freaking like, I'm going to shoot my dad. Dad, please don't.
Yeah.
Mom, please also don't. Honey, I have to be honest with you. I tried to cheat on you. Honey, I think you should shoot him. He might be a hero.
Oh, God.
Aren't you, sweetie? No, I'm not a hero. You can hear the Superman theme, can't you, sweetie? Up, up, and away. Send your daddy up, up, and away. Shoot him.
Oh God.
But still, the kid, like, I don't know, it seemed like the kid could have, like, I don't know, tried to follow him or something, but just the kid just sitting in there with him and him know nothing about Mr. Glass whatsoever other than this guy put a random thing on my, granted, yes, you would be asking questions too if you're the only survivor of a crash like that.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not saying that he wasn't going to ask those, he wasn't going to be thinking like, how many sick days have I taken? Although
right.
I loved the thing from his boss. Great way to ask me for a raise, and I was like, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
That killed me. Just all right, fine, $40 more, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Does he know about the job in New York?
Right.
You know, and it's like, well, you asked how many days you've been sick. That's a great way to ask for a raise, and I'm like, that's funny. Cause it is a kind of like roundabout way, like how many days have I committed to this company? Fine. Here's some more money for
funny.
you.
I thought for sure like his character was just gonna be like, no, that's not what I meant. And he's like, no, take the money, like whatever you need. He's like,
that's what he did, in my opinion. Just
no,
it was very
he did,
short.
but he was just like, it felt like he didn't respond. He's like, huh, not what I was going for, but hell yeah, I'll take that raise.
Basically, yeah. But
this might save my marriage.
Right? Just more income might actually. By the way, another family that just does not seem to be struggling at all when it comes to money, which is kind of funny. Like, I know it's hard for movies to bring that into the equation, especially because it's not everyone's situation. But it's so funny how it's just like, oh, another thing too, by the way, our marriage is falling apart, but we don't know why.
Yeah.
But isn't that something that matters? Like, I know in life you don't always know why someone's marriage is falling apart, but like in a movie we're supposed to connect to the characters, I feel like there should be a triggering moment.
Right, because it felt like the wife should have been much more angry with him, really, because she only really asked it towards the end, like, oh, why are you so distant with us? You'd think she'd be very upset about that throughout the entire film.
Actually, never mind. She's been dead the entire time. You should notice, did the kid ever react to her?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, think about it. Most of the time, it was just Bruce Willis talking. Think about the gunshot scene. You know, the gun scene.
There you go. Yep.
With the gun scene, it was Bruce Willis saying to put the gun down. The wife was freaking out, but really, I think he was just reacting
Bruce Willis.
He only sleeps in the same bed with his dad.
Right.
I'm going to look throughout the entire movie. Yeah. She's been dead the entire time. I legit want to go through the movie and see when he interacts with the mom.
Oh my God.
No, because most of the movie we see them bonding as like father-son.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wait, when has he actually walked around with the mom? Because the mom has an extended scene with Mr. Glass, which was really odd. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Well, granted, now that we know that...
Yeah, I wonder if he orchestrated that himself.
No, but he didn't, because he didn't mean to chase after that guy and fall.
Right, that's fair.
That's the odd thing. Like, he was. By the way, that actually made me feel bad. But it's funny now seeing the end of the movie. It kind of changes that scene drastically. Like now, when he falls down the stairs, all I hear is, "We are the champions."
Oh my God.
I'm like, yeah, good. You killed all those people, dude. I mean, think about that, right? Like at the time, didn't you feel bad for him? Like,
oh yeah, of course.
Now it's completely switched up. I'm like, hooray.
I mean, yeah, that's why it feels like even at the end, it's like, it just, he's killed all these people, but it was for the sense of, no, I'm finding a superhero to help right the wrong in the world. Like, I have to sacrifice some people to do so. Because it's the only way I know how to do it. It's the only way to know for sure that he's a superhero.
Okay, so literally the only time thus far that I've seen the kid interact with the mom was putting her hand on Bruce Willis's as they walked out of the emergency room. Other than that, throughout the entire movie, thus far, up until the gunshot scene, literally the kid barely interacts with the mom.
Right.
The only person interacting with the mom... Yeah, I think it would have. I know it's supposed to be focusing on their dynamic, but the the dynamic of like father son and husband wife, but it seemed like mom son really lacked.
Yeah.
Like it's odd too because Bruce Willis wants to leave, which makes it seem like he's the one being distant, not the mom. Now, granted, maybe mom son interact. I mean, Bruce Willis even mentioned it. Yeah, my wife Aubrey, she's usually the one that deals with this kind of stuff, not really me, like, at the school and everything.
Right.
Were you expecting the car crash to go differently? Like, yeah, my wife was in that car crash with me. And I was like, oh, was she now?
Yeah, no,
what happened?
That made me feel weird, too. I'm like, wait, what? How did she survive then?
Right. Well, because the car crash was not meant to be something horrific like, the train crash or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, that's the thing. When I think of car crash, I think, holy shit, like a 12-pile wreck up,
Oh, no. When I think of car crash, I think of it as either I hit a guardrail or I hit a guardrail and we flew out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, I never think of it being, like, crazy, although it is a movie, so of course you think of, oh, how bad can this, really be? What's interesting, though, is I feel like it's odd how, again, at 45 minutes, we end up having Bruce Willis. Again, he can lift all this stuff and everything. And when they show this, I don't know about you, maybe it's just me, when they showed this scene with, speaking of the car crash, did it seem like it was supposed to be like some big reveal? Because, again, I mentioned that, earlier, where, like, it's not a twist in the sense that, like, it seemed like it's such an odd thing to lie about. But also another thing, too, it doesn't seem like a twist to us because we knew at 45 minutes in that this dude was, like, mega superhero.
Yeah.
Also, yes, even though, another thing, too, I have the audio muted, but I can tell that the kid is seemingly verbally acknowledging the mom, but with very generic things that literally, he could be talking to the dad even halfway-ish. So it's just, obviously the mom isn't dead. Dumb theory. But still, it's just so odd that granted, yes, probably the idea is, oh, if I interact with my dad, maybe he'll stay. I want him to love me, which of course the dad loves him, but, I'm sure that's kind of the thought too. It's just that he interacted with the mom so irregularly that theory is dumb, but not that dumb.
Right.
Also, something else interesting, just from a filmmaking perspective, that I really appreciate them for, Shyamalan and everyone else who worked on this film, when they did use colors, they used them to signify either this is the bad guy or this is the good guy, and they really stuck out from the film's very dark, monotone setting. So, like the janitor guy, he wore bright orange to signify this is different than the world around him.
Right. Huh, that's interesting.
It's stuff that they actually went with. Like, they're confirmed as, like, yeah, we wanted to show, like, like
or
the kid is,
in the red dress.
Yes.
Who was stealing the jewelry. Huh, shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Same thing with the guy in green, the one that he hit the woman in the back of the head with the water, the bottle, and then also assaulted that other woman. Also, of course, Mr. Glass in purple.
Right. Huh.
Although when he was orchestrating those murders, it looked like he was in blue, not in purple. But usually he was in purple. Very interesting when they use colors. Again, they tried to make sure that they were very vibrant and that they stood out.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So just again, from a filmmaking perspective, I really enjoyed that. So I don't want to sit here and seem like, we're like, this movie is the worst movie. I just think that I would have definitely appreciated it more if I knew nothing about it. So in a way, I kind of wish that I did know nothing about it. And it makes me kind of sad, actually, that I know, like, oh, this was supposed to be a superhero movie and a psychological thriller. Oh, this movie has, Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson in it. This is a movie made by M. Night Shyamalan, post everything Shyamalan has done. So I think knowing all that stuff kind of detracts, although I will admit the twist still got me. So apparently not as much as I thought it would, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this being an origin story to a hero that doesn't exist, it's funny because I thought that I hate origin stories more because I know what they can become, but I think I might also kind of not like an origin story when I know you could have just made a film.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that isn't just an origin story.
Yeah.
Because, again, this is a brand new IP. This is a brand new character. So usually the idea of an origin story is, let's introduce this character to the general audience. People may or may not know about him. Either way, we're going to, introduce this version of Spider-Man to the general audience, or this version of Batman or Superman. Even if people know who these characters are because of how much they've penetrated pop culture, we're still going to introduce them for those that are younger, or maybe those who are uninitiated. But when it comes to this character, it's like everyone doesn't know him, which is why we don't necessarily need an hour and 40 minutes of who is this guy, when really, in some weird way, we kind of don't know him. Like, we know his problems in the present day, but we still don't know much about his mom, his dad, his family life other than his wife and kid. We know that he gave up his old life to be with his wife, but other than, we wonder, is he resenting this choice? It seems like he is, but he never outwardly addresses it. He seems to be very closeted and closed off. Is it because of his heroing? Because it seemed like at first he didn't know that he was a hero, or at least he had those powers. Right. But then as the movie goes on, we now know, JK, I knew all along.
Right. Because I feel like another kind of interesting twist would have been if he did know that he was, he was super powerful, but he lost someone to... It seemed like he did,
sort of. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
like lost someone to it before, like if he had... Because I thought the car crash was going to be like, oh, yeah, me and my wife, we were in that. It's like, did you have a wife before your current one that died? Did she die because of your powers or something? And that's why you're so distant with your wife and kid now, because you're like, I don't want me being a superhero to have them die like my first wife did?
Thank you. Yes. Yes, 100% yes. And maybe some would say it's too cliched, perhaps, but it just feels so odd because, again, it feels like, is he hiding this or is he not? Because at first it's like, he truly doesn't know, and then throughout the movie we learn, no, he does know. But then why was he hiding it?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, are we supposed to sit here and be like, well, of course he'd be looked at as a freak, and it's like, yeah, but again, like
he express it that way, like, I didn't want my life to, turn upside down and me to be a freak. He never really seemed to think of it that way.
Yeah. So, I think that this movie, hopefully with its future sequel that does seem to be coming out, it seems to be confirmed, which is great. I think maybe with that it'll complete the story.
Maybe.
In a sense, or it'll complete the character and we'll get to learn more. Because, again, perhaps Shyamalan thought of this as, 3 films that would have come out, within a few years of each other. And it would have been a complete narrative, right? But because it's only the one, I feel like we got a prequel to something that never like, in an odd way, I feel like even though the budget was obviously very high, the actors did very well, in a sense this feels like it's like kind of like a backdoor pilot to a TV show or something like that. Again, it's an origin. But it does feel like, well, the reason why I say backdoor pilot and all is because usually with origin movies, even if it's an origin movie for Spider-Man, we still get another villain being villainous directly.
Right.
Like, we don't usually see origin stories where it's like, here's the origin story for Superman and Lex Luthor. Here's the origin for Batman and Joker in the same film.
Always established. Yeah.
Yeah, a villain at least.
Than a hero.
Yes, exactly. And then the hero has to face the villain at the end of the movie, where this one, you could say that it subverted some tropes, and in a way I'm not going to say it doesn't stand out for being different. I just think without a centralized villain, it feels lacking in some sense.
Yeah, him coming into his own feel a little lacking.
But again, I'm not saying that he should have been saving the entire town, or he should have been saving like hundreds of people.
No, it could start out small. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Like, in no way did I want him to be like, and my next crash will be here. Well, I'm gonna stop it. Like, that would have been terrible. If he had saved people like en masse in this movie, I think that would have been bad and a bit too cliche.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my next, I plan to be stopping, I'm planning another train crash. It's actually across the street. Well, I'm going to save them. And then he saves everyone. Everyone's like, oh my God. One woman is like, wow, I would definitely have sex with you. And he just takes off the ring again. It's like, wait a minute.
Oh my God.
This is not good.
Oh God. Take it back. Take it back.
Yeah, right?
In the wrong direction.
But yeah, so I think we're pretty much done here with our second night of Shyamalan. I would like to mention, though, if there's anything you want to mention, Tristan, any like little things, anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you thought they could have changed, made better, please, I would love to hear it as we kind of wrap this up.
Yeah. No, I think we've pretty much hit everything that I wanted to bring up. But yeah, I think I'm kind of on the opposite side. Oh God. Not to make the pun, but I'm also on the opposite side of the spectrum to say that I never heard anything about this, or if I did, I didn't realize it was this movie. So just seeing it without any context other than, oh yeah, it's a Shyamalan movie. So I was expecting the twist. This time I was like, okay, now I'm expecting the twist. Whereas the first one, I'm like, oh no, wait, maybe it was before the twist. And it's like, no, the twist was always a thing. So, like, other than that, I kind of took it in with nothing else attached. So I actually, I thought it was good. Like, I enjoyed this. Like, I guess if I had to pick one over the other, I'd go with The Sixth Sense, like, as a better movie. But, like, this one was good. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I would not say this is where Shyamalan has gone downhill. It's like, no, we're still in good movie territory.
Exactly. I mean, it's lesser than The Sixth Sense if we have to compare, but it definitely isn't like, oh God, well, we've come here. Like, it's gone downhill.
Yeah. We've finally hit rock bottom.
Harder downhill than that Mexican landslide. Am I right?
Oh.
Am I? They weren't real people. I hope that wasn't real. That was not a real newspaper clipping.
Congratulations, Mr. Wilson. I'm glad to see you finally hit fuck it.
Jesus. But yeah, so I think that the question really remains, though, and I don't know if this is one we can really answer. Maybe if you guys are listening to this through our YouTube channel, you can answer below about what you think. But like, is this a good superhero movie? Is this a good thriller? Because I think maybe you could say it's a good superhero movie. I don't think it's a good thriller. Or at the very least, I don't think it's a good romantic anything. Like, I think the romance was flat.
Yeah.
Like, the romance to me, and I'm the one who defends romance to you, where you're like, I don't know, I feel like it was too much this, and I'm like, no, Tristan, that was neat. Like, I feel like the romance was more dead than the people in that train car. Am I right? They weren't real people.
Are you the supervillain tonight? Like, what is this?
Am I right? No.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I have to say though, something else too. Even though I do think it's a good superhero movie.
To make an omelet, am I right? Nah.
Just like that plane crash. I don't know. No, there wasn't a good one for that.
Oh my God.
But anyway, one thing I want to mention though, Tristan. One thing I want to mention. even though this is based in because it's based in reality, at least it's trying to be, I do feel like every time they mention the glass thing, it feels jarring, even though that's a great name for a supervillain.
Right.
Like, Mr. Glass is not a bad name at all. I just think that it's such an odd thing to come up when the rest of the movie is trying to be based in reality. Also, one other odd thing, or not odd thing, but one other thing that I think nowadays, I don't know, it seems like Shyamalan has gone to the well for this, sadly, a little bit, and we'll talk about it more when we get to some of his newer movies that have done this. He seemed to, at least, and I know this movie is meant to be, again, superhero-y, but the thing about Mr. Glass, though, that we have to acknowledge is that he does not have superpowers.
Yeah.
So he's literally just a disabled dude who's a villain.
I suppose you could say, he seems to be a genius in a sense. Like, he's an evil genius.
If they mention that in Glass, then we can confirm it. But what I'm trying to say is this, right? It would be like saying, the man is an evil genius. It's like, the kids made fun of him for having autism. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he seems to be a villain that is based around his disability. Granted, it's based around him being demonized for it.
Right, yeah, that's fair.
No, just as we're wrapping this up, I think that's my thing. We're like...
Yeah, it's odd. He never seemed to really, take that. It's like, it never seemed like he wanted to take it out on the people. It's like, oh, they made fun of me. It wasn't from that angle. It's like, people always said, terrible things about me. It's like, well, I'm going to, share that pain with the rest of the world. He never came from that angle.
But it came off that way around the end when we find out that he killed all those people. Granted, he's doing it for what he thinks is justice. But what I'm trying to get at here, though, is that it's... I don't know how to explain this. Like, when you see a supervillain, even if they don't think they're a supervillain, like Lex Luthor doesn't think he's a supervillain. Lex Luthor will sit back, depending on what comic you're reading, and go, I did that for the greater good. I had my wife killed because it would make me look more sympathetic. I did that for the greater good. That's something Luthor would do. But it wouldn't. But his backstory would be Lex Luthor, major dick. He got his hair burned off in a fire, perhaps, but that's his, that's kind of his, if anyone picked on Lex Luthor, it's because he was a dick.
Right. Oh, my God.
But, if I remember correctly, the backstories that I've heard, not many supervillain backstories are, oh, I have this disability.
Right.
And because that's the thing, because he truly has a disability / illness of some kind. If you don't want to call it a disability, you can call it an illness, because he's in the wheelchair due to his illness. No. But he still has an illness, right?
Exactly.
So it's just odd, where usually, yes, comic books have gone really out there with the illnesses, I got radiation poisoning, so instead of me dying, I've become a giant or some shit like that, right? So obviously, that'll happen. Right, and that'll be, fantastic versions of that. But because this is grounded in reality, it's just I have a disease that makes my bones braille, like glass. And what do you do with that? I'm a murder you. What? Well, I'm just trying to find a hero, you see. No, I don't actually. Look, just get in this car. We'll see where this goes. Don't worry about the brake line.
Get in the damn car.
Well, fine then. Maybe you're not a superhero. Maybe I'm not. Shit. But that's the thing.
It's just get in the damn car. And why should I? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because your wife and child are in there and that cut the brake lines. Oh, did I say that out loud?
One of you will be a hero. Don't you worry about it. What if we're not? Well, you'll be like everyone else. What?
You'll be like all the millions of others I've killed. What? Nothing.
But the thing is, I want to mention, though, again, before we officially wrap this up, he's done this before in later movies. That's kind of he's gone to the horror well with illness / disability.
Right.
And that's what's kind of odd to me. And again, we can get into it more with the later films rather than this one, but it's just one of those things where it's not like his, if if his illness gave him power. Same thing with like Daredevil, where it's like, oh, Daredevil is blind, but due to him getting hit with yes, because he got hit with radiation in the eyes, and that kind of messed with his other senses and or he got hit with like acid in his eyes. Something happened somewhere where he went blind, but other parts of him were heightened, right? But it wasn't. Yeah. But the thing is, if that makes you a hero, then that's okay. But if it makes you a villain, that's where things get a little iffy. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially when in comic books, hero representation for people who are disabled it isn't really there yet.
Right.
You know, like we have one hero who we have technically, if you want to talk about people who are in wheelchairs, we do have Professor X, right? To be fair.
And it's funny, that's what I thought we were kind of going for with Glass. I thought he was kind of going to be the one to find superheroes in the world and tell them, no, it's like, have you ever felt like you don't have a place in this world, but you do for a little bit there.
Interestingly enough, it's kind of how the X-Men would function in real life, where it's like, see, you're different, you're ostracized, I am. Now let's murder the normies. I'm sorry, what? Wait, did you not get that we were doing bioterrorism? I did not.
Oh, well, this is awkward.
Yeah, right. But so, for me, I mean, again, with that, again, I could have added to the twist, too. He's like Professor X, accepts evil. So, that's fair.
He's Professor Z.
My God. Nope. Just no. Just not even letting it happen. Professor, why did you do that fucking joke? Nope. Anyway. But yeah,
all along. There's the twist.
Yeah, you've been a supervillain all along. But I'm just saying that if this is the only movie he ever did that in, okay, but he's done it before, and I feel like that's a weird horror trope. And again, this is not a horror movie; it's a superhero movie technically. But with the way he does his movies, most of them horror, most of them scary, whatever. It's just odd that he would be like, but the guy that has the illness is the evil one, and he's murdered people. He just can't fall while doing it. Again, this illness is so debilitating, but he's able to orchestrate all this. I really do hope that in Glass or in some other movie or some kind of, we just learn some backstory of oh no, people helped him. What, you think you can do it alone?
Right.
And I'd be like, okay, that's fair.
He might have some kind of mind control power as well.
Yeah, something odd like that. Something, because again, if he,
maybe
some people might think it's a retcon. Yeah, because some people think it's a yeah. Just something.
Yeah.
Because I know some people might think, oh, it's a retcon. That's what I'm even trying to say, the word retcon. But I do think that, he has to have something more. And also just him being, again, I don't know, I think because at the end of the movie he's in the chair, it's just kind of it just kind of drives home the idea of oh, he has problems, physical problems. And also another thing too, we didn't see the bullying as much, where if we saw people actually beating him up and really breaking him mentally and physically, you could be oh my God, that poor child. And I'm sure, and he mentioned that he was bullied. To be fair, he did, right? But I don't know, it seems like he didn't. It seems like, okay, if we got rid of the Bruce Willis mind shit, I think it'd be the opposite ends, quote unquote, weakness and strength. Also, another thing too, I think it's also odd for the fact that he's lived through all this. The idea is that, granted, this is only in his mind, not in the creator's mind, that the creator of the movie, that Samuel L. Jackson being I'm weak. It's kind of no, dude, you lived through all this. You're fucking strong.
Right. Yeah.
So that's another thing too, the idea of pushing the idea of you and I, because it's 2018, and also I think maybe because we're not, I don't know, I feel like we're not terrible people, not trying to be any rude to other people who, but it's the idea that it is a terrible person thing to be you're right, Samuel L. Jackson, his character is weak, disgustingly weak. Yes, physically, yes, he can break his bones at the drop of a hat, but to be yeah, you are weak. Weakness, weak.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, no, he's actually really strong, like, being able to live through that.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I'd be able to live with
mentally,
that.
Yes, he's very strong. But
yes.
Also,
but what I'm saying is physically, yes, he is weak. No, physically, yes. But it's one of those things where, like, as his doctor, he is weak, yes. But it feels like it's pushing, like, the narrative of, like, the weak one was broken and turned evil. It's like, I don't Yeah,
I don't know.
So,
how
like,
to
that's
feel about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that I will admit. That's the part of it. It's like I like the twist when you think of it from, oh my goodness, I thought you were good, right? But then peeling it back layer by layer, and again, just because Shyamalan has used the idea before of, oh, this one's evil. Why? Well, they're insane. And it's like, what does insane really mean? Whatever we need the movie to mean. All right.
Yeah.
That's the issue here too, where it's just like, again, it's meant to be more of a superhero thing, so you can kind of forgive it a little bit compared to some other movies that he's done. But it still kind of comes a little, like, it's a little off to me in some respects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give this movie 2.5 Shyamalans. No, I'm kidding. Like 4.
Oh God.
I give it 4 Shyamalans. Sixth Sense, that was like 4.5 Shyamalans. This one gets like 4. 3.5 the least. How many Shyamalans do you give this movie? Do you not want to?
Out of what, like 5?
5.
Or
yeah, out of 5 Shyamalans.
Yeah, I guess I'd give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 Shyamalans.
I was hoping you'd say it. Yes. All right. You know, now we don't have to do any more movies. This whole podcast was just a ruse to get you to say X out of whatever many Shyamalans. That's all this podcast was about.
I'm almost inclined to believe that.
How great would it be? I want to say this both to you, Tristan, and to the viewing audience. How great would it be if that was the twist? Would that not in its own way be amazing?
I mean, I feel like, Matt, in order for this 12 Nights of Shyamalan to be complete, you have to have some kind of twist for the end of this.
Yeah, I really do. Like, it has to be something where, like, the last thing we talk about is really good or something. Like, everything was going downhill until...
Or the last one we talk about isn't actually a Shyamalan movie. You just convinced me it is.
With the way I've heard his movies have gone, I just have to show you a bad movie.
I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
snap. You went there. No, all jokes aside, I've heard that his movies had an uptake in quality recently.
Okay.
And hey, I hope Glass is good. Shit. You know, that one's coming up.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, all right, so let's stop the jokes here. We have to get serious. We have to say thank you all so much for listening in. Please, if you're watching this through our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. If you're listening in through our Blog Talk Radio account, which is blogtalkradio.com/thoseguysontheradio, you can follow us, but you're good, right? If you're just listening in, you're good there. Also, you might be listening to us through our iTunes by searching up Those Guys on iTunes. I believe there's a way to follow us there as well. But either way, you can download all of our different podcasts we've done throughout the years because you and I have been doing this for years, Tristan. Also, it will never end. Also, what's funny is we still have stuff to talk about. We expand our horizons, Tristan.
Oh, my God.
But and we also do really – what was that?
I said, I mean, we do, yes, but –
yeah, it's funny. It's like, that's not even a joke. We just do. He just said it in a funny tone. We actually do. Also, you could see us not only play some games, but also have some very interesting gaming-related content over at our Those Guys Play YouTube channel. Search up Those Guys Play, or you can just put youtube.com/c/ThoseGuysPlay. Also, you can check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/CGProductions. If you want to help us out, you totally can. You don't have to at all. These podcasts are free. But if you want to help us out, you can also get the chance to tell us, hey, I want you guys to do a podcast on this, to review that, or even to do a Let's Play on this or that. And also, speaking of our podcast channel, by the time this comes out, we should still be doing Keikaku Corner, because we're doing these in advance. Because it's 12 nights. It's a lot to do. So we're doing these in advance. Keikaku Corner is a weekly, either weekly or at least twice a month anime, manga, tokusatsu, general nerd news show that we do where Tristan and I talk about different news topics, and usually a clip per day will get posted on our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel. So you can check out Keikaku Corner on our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel as well, and you can also go to our TG Productions YouTube channel to kind of just get some really weird esoteric skits that we do. Sometimes we'll take stuff from the podcast, so like something that we said today that was really dumb that can be reinserted into the movie. We could just post a clip of the movie, us saying the dumb thing and maybe either dubbing it over or just some shit like that. Either way, it's a very interesting channel, our TG Productions channel. Like a lot of our more interesting, weird stuff goes there. And if you're wondering, well, Matt, I could subscribe to all three, which you totally should, but I also want to know about other things that you guys post or just other things that you guys are doing, not just by following the YouTube channel, because sometimes people do have YouTube, they do have, accounts and everything, but sometimes they don't want to be patrolling it 24/7. You can actually go on our Facebook, which is facebook.com/thoseguysonthereradio. You can post there, like our stuff there, follow us on there, and you can also go to our Twitter. You can tweet us at @thoseguysradio, and we also have our main website as well, which is tgproduction.net, which our merchandise is also on there as well. It's tgproduction.net/merchandise, or our eBay, which is ebay.com/USR/thoseguysradio. Different stuff on both. Usually on our eBay we'll have stuff from my personal collection, gaming stuff, pro wrestling stuff, even some of our T-shirts and posters. But most of our T-shirts and posters will definitely be on our main website, which I just mentioned, tgproduction.net/merchandise. All right, guys. So thank you all so much for listening in, and tune in tomorrow for another Night of Shyamalan. Are you ready, Tristan? That's him. Are you ready?
Think so.
All right. The next movie might surprise you, Tristan, in terms of its how good it is. It might shock you. We'll see how good it is. I don't know if it was that good. We'll see. Take care, everyone. Good night. Say good night, Tristan.
Good night. Goodbye. Good night. And farewell.